Actually, can I use the bathroom real quick? I gotta try. I can feel it coming.
Hello. Hello, I'm hosting today, as always, for the second time. My name is Tyler,
And my name is Justin,
and that's it.
and
We
you're
don't have any
watching Disney
fancy.
Channel.
Yes, we are watching Disney Channel. We are watching Disney Channel while recording this. I don't. Hopefully, you're watching Disney Channel too. Uh, Hannah Montana movie. Highly recommend it. Of course.
Is that Disney?
Yeah, Disney did Hannah Montana.
For some reason, I thought it was Nick.
What? No.
Wait, no, man. Nick was all the Dan Schneider shows, the
How
classic.
dare you?
Even though he's an interesting
Actually,
man, but
I was a Nick kid. I didn't watch any Disney shows. Everybody else was watching Zack and Cody and Hannah Montana, I guess. Whatever's on. Was that's a Raven? That was one, right?
oh, that's a good one. That yeah, that's before my time, but I still know that's a good one.
I've never seen any of them.
I'd rather watch
But
that than Zack and Cody. Sorry, we're getting off topic.
yeah. This is a gaming podcast where we talk about our favorite Disney Channel shows and how we want more of the Dance Dance Revolution Disney show games for PlayStation 2 because we have one that we never played.
We'll get there one day.
It's gonna happen. But we're gonna start the show as per usual and 2 weeks in. Justin, what have you been playing recently?
Um, as I said last week, or whenever the hell we recorded that, I think it was last week. I was playing the
Yes.
Batman Arkham game. I finished those. I forgot how freaking amazing the story was for Arkham Knight. I beat that like 2 days ago, and I was taken aback. I was also scared shitless because the ending was way more scary than it needed to be.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, I really liked it.
Not to spoil it, but you're talking about when the statues are.
Yeah.
Oh, I love
I
that
was
part. That
playing
was
that at like
great.
2 in the morning and just about jumped 2 feet in the air. Uh, Other than that, I've gotten back into Dead by Daylight recently, which might have been a mistake, but it is what
How
it
many hours
is.
do you have Dead by Daylight?
It says here, I think 367, which is not much compared to most people that play that game.
Oh my
Some people
gosh.
would call that
That
a few more
not
hours.
much. Not much. That's what 367 hours was just considered.
It is not. It's it's a few. That's like beginner hours.
That's just sad. No, it's okay. It is. I have played very little of that game, but I bought the board game on Kickstarter, so I'll play Dead by Daylight in physical form eventually.
Had no idea there was a board game.
It's yeah, when on Kickstarter. It's supposed to come out in like March this year. I bought the deluxe edition, add it to the board games that we talked about last week.
Yeah. So what have you been doing this like week?
Well, I went back to work this week, so not
Wonderful.
as much. No, I played the first world of Mario and Rabbids because when the wife is asleep and I get up early in the morning, I don't have to go to work. I take a Steam Deck or the Switch out to the living room and sit on the couch. I play that for like an hour to drink some coffee. And so Mario and Rabbids has been my go-to. There are four worlds in that. I played through the first one. It's pretty good actually. I didn't know what to expect. The Rabbids are like the minions of like gaming, I guess. They're annoying. Some people, or a lot of
You
people, get really
people
annoyed
find them
by them,
funny.
but they are funny, and minions are funny too. It's just
No.
they're overdone is the problem. But I also started near as per book club. I won't really talk about it. All I can say is I've pretty much done the first level. The whole like you get to the boss in the beginning and then you fight him and so on and so forth.
Hmm.
Um,
I
that's pretty
kind
much
of
all I've
need to
played so
tell
far.
you what because the way you beat that game is really weird.
Well, I know you
And the,
replay it multiple times.
yeah,
Yeah, I was aware of that going in.
okay. And there's like a weird ending thing. The way I figured out how to get to the right ending, I got spoiled a lot. So I just don't want that to happen to you because it kind of ruins the experience, but it's still phenomenal.
I see. I see. Sorry, I had to get some water. Yeah, I started near. I'm not super far into it just because it's been a busy week, but I have until the beginning of February to play through it. So, and then we'll talk about it in detail on Video Game Book Club. The only other thing last week we talked about, I had a New Year's resolution for the Soulsborne games, but I wasn't sure I wanted to do that, and I decided I did not want to do that. Instead, I'm going to play all the games in the Blizzard catalog, minus a couple, because I don't really care about the arcade games from like early '90s, late '80s. I don't know when they came out.
Old people times.
Yes, the prehistoric ages, the Jurassic ages, as Jurassic Park probably came out back then, around that time.
Yes.
So, yeah, not really interested in those, but pretty much like Warcraft, the StarCraft games, Diablo, all of those, Hearthstone, Overwatch. I just want to put a lot of time in all Blizzard games this year, and yeah, and that's an excuse for me to really play my PC more because I'm not much of a PC gamer and I want to get into those. I enjoy strategy games, and I've been wanting to get back into some sort of RTS game because I've only played like the Halo War series and a little bit of just a very small amount of a couple other ones on PC. So I figured Warcraft, StarCraft, and then again, we're both excited for Diablo 4. I like the other games as well. I'm going to be skipping. If I get to it, I get to it, but I don't really care about Diablo 1 because that one's just really, really old. Um, most Blizzard games, though, they're kind of updated. We got the remake for Diablo 2, Diablo 4 is coming out, Immortals, the mobile one. 3 is honestly still relevant and not that old. Like it plays great. Um, StarCraft, like StarCraft 1's been remastered, and it even has that like animated one. So those are like up to date and easy to access. Warcraft 3, we don't really talk about, but that one's technically been remastered. And I did get 1 and 2 on GOG. So I am going to start with those ones, even though they're really old and probably not worth going back to, but I'm going to do it anyways.
I have a question for your resolution.
What's that?
Uh, is WoW/WoW Classic a part of your catalog for the resolution?
Yes, because those are, yeah, part of it is including games that don't really have ends to beat, such as WoW and WoW Classic, or Overwatch 2, which might have a story eventually by the time this year is over. But my goal is there to, I don't think those words made sense, what I just said. My goal is to just play a lot of time, put a lot of time in each of those games. Um, yeah, I can't say like I'm going to beat the game, quote unquote. Obviously I'll be doing some of the raids or whatever, but that's the goal is to play a lot of those. So like Overwatch 2, I want to get somewhere between 100 to 200 hours. Um, yeah, you don't really beat the Diablo games like you do, but you've barely done anything in the game if you've just only played the story. From what I remember of Diablo 3. And that's the other thing. I played Diablo 3 before, and I'm going to be playing Diablos 2, 4, and Immortal, and maybe even 1. I don't really care about playing Diablo 3 again. That's the only one I've played before. So if I get to it, sure. If not, that's not part of this year. That's, yeah. And I've tried Hearthstone before. I've played, I don't know, an hour or two on my phone. It's all right, but I've been getting really into Marvel Snap and a couple other card games, so it'll be all right to come back and try Hearthstone again, especially with a fresh set of eyes.
Yeah, the one overnighter we did from the one place that closed down like 3 years ago and whose name I cannot remember.
Oh, Contender Esports.
Mayhaps.
It is
No
because
clue
it's a
if that was the
chain.
name.
Yeah, it was a esports location that was doing an overnight event that we stayed at that I also ruined my car the next morning. But we don't talk
Yeah.
about that part.
I tried StarCraft 2 there almost 10 years after release. Or actually, I think it was 10 years after release. And oh boy, I had no clue what I was doing. I I don't play a lot of RTS games, so jumping straight into that one was a massive clusterfuck of me having no idea what I was doing, and then going straight into the online mode and failing miserably. It was a great experience, but I was surrounded by other nerds, so it did not matter.
Well, you still liked it though. You said you're interested in it, or was that not you?
That was I I enjoyed it even though I had no idea where I was, what I was doing, or how to be the random person across the world that was working his foot up my ass the entire match.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah,
Because it's StarCraft is really big in esports, just not here in America. I think it's Korea.
I think so as well.
Yeah, I think that's where it's huge. I don't know, but I'm gonna actually try to watch. There's a huge StarCraft. I don't know if it's like a league or like a tour championship or what. Something coming up in February. I'm gonna try to watch and see if I can understand anything. I don't even know if it's in English. I would assume so, but I assume someone is casting it in English. But
Yeah, I'm sure
I don't know.
there's gotta be one for the US. You could just pitch it on some gross Australian stream.
That's fair. But yeah, that's all I've played because I went to work. So Overwatch 2, Near, and Mario and Rabbids. I haven't played any more Sea of Thieves because everything else kind of took its place.
Big a big difference between the games though. So at least you're getting some variety.
That is fair. All right, so this week there wasn't a lot news wise to like talk about, react to. There weren't any new games coming out, so there was nothing to talk about there. So what we're going to talk about instead is just what this year looks like for the exclusive platforms because you at this point primarily play on PlayStation, PS5 in particular. And
Yes.
I play a little bit of everything. I prefer Xbox, but we game share and it just doesn't make sense for buying some games on Xbox currently, especially if you want to play them. So I'm kind of in the middle. And last year I played a lot more PlayStation than I've played in the years before. So we're gonna pick apart the exclusives coming out for each platform this year. So Nintendo, not really PC. So Nintendo, PlayStation, Xbox, and kind of talk about who we think is going to have the better year. Because in my opinion, about 2 years ago, we had Halo Infinite launch. So in 2021, Halo Infinite, Forza, something else came out early in the year that was Xbox. Xbox had a really good year, and PlayStation was kind of quiet that year. They didn't really launch a whole lot, from what I remember. I think there was like a game or two in spring. They didn't really have a big fall game. I I maybe should have researched this before we got into the podcast. But last year was the opposite. Last year, we had Gran Turismo, we had God of War Ragnarok. What else did PlayStation had something else, right?
Horizon.
Horizon, yeah, the game that everybody forgets about. Uh, I genuinely just didn't remember that. So,
It lasts about a month, and then after that, it's unanimous game with ginger protagonist. That's the one.
how many games have ginger protagonists? Well,
Um,
ironically,
Garfield the video game.
the game that replaced in the spotlight Horizon has a ginger antagonist, right? The chick with the red hair in Elden Ring.
Oh, I don't know the chick with the red hair and Elden Ring.
I don't know. She's like on the box art.
I thought she was blonde.
I don't think so. This is all. I've never played the game, so I'm not the most qualified to answer this. So we're gonna move on from it. Justin, what do you think? Let's go platform by platform, and then we'll talk about the end. Who we think is going to have the best year, um, or yeah. So we'll start with Nintendo. Do you know what games are coming out on Nintendo this year?
Zelda. Yeah,
Is that it?
that's about it. That's really all I
That
know. That might be all they need
that is very fair. That
to
might be
win.
all they need. Now Nintendo, they have a habit of just not really announcing games ahead of time. I mean, some of them they do. Like when Switch came out, had a whole thing. But for the most part, like when Paper Mario came out, they just announced that in a tweet 2 months before the game came out. Like, oh hey, Paper Mario, what was it? Origami King. Paper Mario Origami King is coming out August. Here's a trailer. And it was like, okay, didn't you have a direct like 2 weeks ago that you could have put this in? But it's weird because sometimes they'll announce things. I mean, Breath of the Wild or the sequel, Tears of the Kingdom. They announced that like what 2 years ago now, 3 years ago.
Yes, two, I believe.
But other than that, I mean, like they have Metroid Prime 4. Um, what else? What else did they announce at a time? I feel like not a lot.
Multiple Pokemon games that ended up being very similar.
Well, yeah, that's fair. But even then, they don't announce like the Pokemon games until uh, within 6 months or so out. Um, like for example, Arceus came out, and then they announced Arceus came out in like January or February. I think it was January, and then that year they still announced later that Gen is it Gen 9 they're on now, or is it Gen 8?
I think Gen 9.
So they announced Gen 9 the same year, and then it comes out. Nintendo just has a habit of not really announcing things, in my experience. But yeah, they do have some things coming out this year, most of which is in the spring, for all we know. Obviously, Tears of the Kingdom. They have a new Fire Emblem coming out. That comes out this month, actually. I've I don't I'm not as interested in that, but part of it's because I've never played a Fire Emblem. They also have a new Kirby, although it's a remake from the Wii one. What the heck was that called? Oh my gosh, where'd it go? Return to Dreamland Deluxe. They also have Pikmin 4 coming out this year. They have rumored Metroid Prime 4. And is that it? They did partner with Disney, and they have Disney's Illusion Island coming out, which is like a cartoon based game with Mickey, Minnie, Donald, and Goofy.
Hmm.
I don't know about that one too much, but the other ones, those are exciting, and those are actual Nintendo properties. Do you think any of these games besides Tears of the Kingdom have any like staying power in people's memories? They're going to actually make it onto like Game Awards or something like that.
Not not really. I think Nintendo fans are gonna have a good time with them because a lot of these like Metroid and Pikmin 4, those are pretty big to Nintendo people, but I don't know if they're like, Elden Ring contenders. The only thing I can imagine doing, that is Zelda, maybe a Mario game if that ever gets released.
Well, yeah, that's and that we talked about that last year or last year. We recorded it last year.
Last year.
Yeah, last week we talked about how they probably have a Mario game coming out, but they haven't announced it. Like, we really have no idea. Um, yeah, the fall could be completely different, but yeah, based on these early games, like Fire Emblem's cool, but I don't think it has like the mainstream staying power that maybe some other games do. Kirby, it's good, but it's a remake. Metroid, I think, could be really good if it comes out this year, specifically because Metroid Dread, when that came out 2 years ago, I think, when that came out, it actually did make it onto a couple awards. I don't know if it won anything. I also don't remember what it was nominated for, but I feel like it did pretty well. Maybe I'm wrong. Did you have you ever played? I guess here's a good question. Have you ever played any of these series besides Zelda?
No, rarely. That's why I feel bad talking about these because I have little knowledge, not a lot
You
of
hate
nostalgia value to
Nintendo,
it.
is what
I
you just
hate
said.
Nintendo.
Yes. Okay.
They got cute little guys. I just rarely ever play the cute little guys.
I've
Not enough
played
to make me spend $60 every time a new game comes out and never goes on sale.
I've played all of these series in Smash Bros, and that's all I have.
Yeah, that's the only time I've ever seen a Fire Emblem character, and I think I've seen them all because of Smash Bros.
Well, yeah. Oh, apparently the new Fire Emblem, you can actually use these weapons that brings back characters from the franchise, so you can experience all the Fire Emblem characters again. All right. Well, the next platform we'll talk about is got to be PlayStation, the one that matters to you the most. So let me read the list. This is I don't DBL tap. I don't know. I just looked up on Google top 10 exclusive or yeah, animated not animated. Anticipated. That is the word I tried to read and I did not read it correctly. Anticipated PS5 exclusive games. Maybe they're coming to PS4 too. I don't quite know. We have Marvel Spider-Man 2, Final Fantasy 16, Forspoken, which comes out this month, the Horizon PSVR 2 game, Silent Hill 2 remake. They have Death Stranding 2. I don't know if that's actually coming out this year. The next Final Fantasy 7 remake part 2 thing. Dark Pictures Switchback, which is a VR. It's from the Dark Pictures anthology. Who
Hmm.
they made? What was it? Until Dawn.
Yeah. Wait, I don't think that was them. I thought the Dark Pictures and Until Dawn people were separate.
Well, there is a way of finding this out. Did
Well,
the
Google is cheating.
Oh, okay. Then nobody knows. Regardless, PSVR 2 games, and then really the big non VR titles looks like Spider Man, Forspoken, Silent Hill 2 remake, and the Final Fantasy 7 remake. Um, Final Fantasy 16 as well. So, what about these titles? Do we think PlayStation has some real Game Awards contenders here? Do we think we have the top games of the year, the best platform? What are you thinking?
Well, I think Spider-Man is obviously a big one. I did Spider-Man 2018 get on to the Game of the Year list last time?
I'm sure it did. I think
Because
the
I
problem is
doubt.
it's going up against Red
Yeah,
Dead
I was
and
going
God of
against
War
God
that
of War and
year.
Red Dead. Yeah, that's why I don't know. I liked the games a lot, and I think I'll like the second one a lot. I still just don't think it'll be like not God of War material. Game of the Year material. It's just I think that's a wall I don't think it can hit. Um,
I think the difference though is that I feel like maybe it's not going to hit Game Awards like Game of the Year material,
mhm.
but it is Spider-Man the most popular. This is a complete out of my butt statistic, but I'm going to say the most popular superhero of all time, at least Marvel wise. Like even if it doesn't, make Game of the Year awards and all this other stuff, it's going to sell tens of millions of copies, and
Yeah.
half the people with the PS5 are going to buy it because it's Spider Man. Everybody loves Spider Man. The first one was great. People were looking forward to the second one.
I mean, yeah, I 100%ed both the 2018 version twice and then Miles Morales also twice. I love those games. I like Spider-Man like every other human on this earth. I just, I don't, it's a superhero game, and a lot of superhero games are really similar. Very few have broken the, you know, Arkham mold that we see a lot. Right? Obviously, we're seeing different ones now, like the Midnight Suns having the, XCOM, developers and basically just being, Marvel XCOM. But I don't know. I feel like everything the sequel is gonna have is probably similar to what it already did have, just more story.
Yeah, that's probably fair. Well, what about the Final Fantasy games? You got Final Fantasy 16 coming out. It's exclusive to PlayStation this time, and then you have the Final Fantasy 7 remake Part 2.
Um, I think any Final Fantasy game, no matter what, has a chance of making it on because Final Fantasy fans scare me. They have a lot of devotion. They keep robbing the Game Award for best soundtrack somehow. And I don't
I was
know.
drinking water
I've
and I almost coughed that up.
the most I've played for Final Fantasy has been the Kingdom Hearts games, which what the hell? I had no
It was really difficult to get into those. I tried, I couldn't.
it looked cute, and then I had no idea what was happening in the fever dream with Disney. But and I think most Final Fantasy games have that, fever dream like style to it, but I don't again, the fans terrify me. So every time I go to play one, I'm getting so much information rolled into my head at once that I have no clue what is happening. But I think the part two of Final Fantasy VII Remake is definitely going to have a shot. If that's coming out this year,
It's
is
supposed to
that
come out
confirmed?
winter this year.
I think that has a shot, maybe just because how many people like Final Fantasy VII. I haven't really looked into Final Fantasy 16, so I know very little about it. I don't know enough to, judge it. Same thing with, most of the Nintendo games, but I
What
don't know.
about uh, what about the PSVR 2, right? Because that's where a lot of the focus seems to be this week. In fact, the only news thing was, minus like Activision lawsuit stuff, that CES, the computer, I think it's the, or maybe it's the Consumer Electronics Show. Computers. It's got computers. That's what I'm going to go with. Sony is there showing off the PSVR 2 and talking about stuff. They said that Gran Turismo 7 is going to have a day one update to make it fully VR compatible and stuff. Obviously, the big title is Horizon Call of the Mountain for at launch. Do you think that's gonna break anything, or at least be like a big VR title?
Maybe I really think VR is separate than a lot of most of these games. I I need to look more into the PlayStation VR 2 because I used the first one a wee bit when you had one, and I just remember the setup being terrifying and very wiry, and
Yeah, this the
I would
setup
struggle
killed
with it a
that
lot of
platform.
time. And I don't know. I liked the games, especially, the Batman one. I like Batman. I liked the Star Wars, the Star Wars Squadrons S game. I didn't actually play Star Wars Squadrons VR, but the little demo version that was on Battlefront, I think.
Yeah, yeah, the X-wing mission from Star Wars
Yeah,
Battlefront.
I played that a lot. I thought it was cool, but I don't know. It might just be me kind of losing VR's effect, but it never really. Every time I play a VR game, nothing really lasts. Nothing, the feelings of actually playing that game. I get bored really quickly because I tried playing Resident Evil 4 on Oculus just last year, and I don't know. I just think I can't play like a full length game in VR. It just I think it's a bit too much.
Did you know that they're supposed to be bringing Grand Theft Auto San Andreas to VR for the Oculus?
I did not, and that that sounds terrifying.
It it's probably going to be really weird because that game is old. Like Resident Evil 2 is also, or 4, I mean, that's also old, but like that's a little more modern and like less cartoony than like GTA before GTA 4. So I don't know.
Yeah,
But
I
there
don't know. I think my
is
main problem with VR games is I don't feel as immersed as I did when I first tried it in like I don't know what year it was. We went to like a Best Buy to go test out the PlayStation VR for the first time. No one there, and we played that shark demo, and I was,
I do
terrified because I
remember
was a
that.
child.
I
Yeah. But
think I
I
have
don't know.
that
I've
picture
never
of you
felt
somewhere.
like I was, you know, as immersed or as I don't know. I think it's a bit overhyped now that I've tried it a lot and played more VR games. But I could just be a pessimistic bitch right now. I don't know. Maybe people like VR.
Some people like VR. I like VR as an idea. I haven't taken the leap. I don't know. It's just, and part of it's like what games outside of a very select few, like Half Life Alex, are full length games that are really made for VR.
Hmm.
But there's a couple more on PlayStation. I don't think I've ever played any of these games. I don't think you have either. Silent Hill 2 is getting a remake. That game is supposed to be the best one in that series. A lot of people like that one as the most popular and the best one. To me, it's like Resident Evil, where I've barely played Resident Evil. It sounds cool, but what are your thoughts on that?
Well, I'm a big, horror fan. I have not played that one yet, so I am kind of excited for that one. As I know a lot of uh, Silent Hill things just because of Dead by Daylight, and a lot of the fans play that game just because there's Silent Hill in there. Same thing with Resident Evil fans. So I don't know. That interests me. I've never played the series, so I don't think it'd be the best spot for me to start off, but it probably will be where I start off.
That yeah, that's probably the reality for a lot of people too, because there hasn't been a Silent Hill game in a while. There was going to be a Kojima one, and well, PT is the only remnant of that left if you
Yeah.
can find a PlayStation with it. And then the last one, this one actually comes out on the 24th. So when we're recording this, little less than 3 weeks away. Forspoken. Do you know anything about that? I've looked at
Absolutely
it a
not.
little
No.
bit. Every time I see a trailer, I'm like, oh, I see why people are excited. That looks kind of cool. And I completely like it just wipes clean of my memory. Like that's just like short term memory loss right there. I just don't remember what that game is anymore. But a lot of people are really excited for it. So who knows? It's not a Sony owned IP. I believe Square Enix is actually,
Squeenix, yeah.
yeah, they're the ones working on it. But it looks cool. I don't know. Maybe as it gets closer, it'd be one of those things where all of a sudden TikTok and YouTube and everything is just blowing up on it, and all of a sudden I'm gonna be forced to see it and everything, and maybe I'll try it then. Not to bash the game whatsoever. I just don't know anything about it, and I don't know. It hasn't caught my eye enough that I want to read more about it per se. Any thoughts on Forspoken before we move on?
No, I'm really the same as you. I see it a lot. I think it looks, cool for when I do see it, and the next thing I know, I have to relearn it every time I hear about it.
Well, we'll move on to the last platform here. We have Xbox, which is, just to be upfront, my preferred platform, my bias. Although even though I played probably a bit more PlayStation, I'll continue to play more PlayStation and PC this year in particular. Xbox has my favorite, games, and they I think are going to have, not to spoil the conversation after this, but I think Xbox has, assuming all goes as planned, and Nintendo doesn't come out with Mario and some more like Smash Bros DLC or some like extreme like heavy hitters. Same with PlayStation. Assuming they don't just like surprise us with like several knockout punches, I think Xbox has the best year because Xbox has Starfield this year, next big Bethesda game. Even if it doesn't do as well because it's a brand new IP. I mean, like when Skyrim came out or when Fallout came out, because that's probably a little more relevant to what you remember, Justin. When Fallout 4 came out, how long did you see memes, whether it be Preston Garvey with the another settlement needs our help, or just random clips of anything?
I have no clue. I was not a Bethesda person, especially not a Fallout person.
Well, I meant just on
Was
social
not
media
till
in general, or are you still not really? Was that like just before your time?
that was probably just for my time or never
Oh
my
my
time
gosh,
because I don't think I get gaming memes.
I'm really old. Okay, so I just think Bethesda, I mean, they're gonna be memed on. Like regardless, good game or bad, there's gonna be memes, and that's gonna put it in the front and center of people's attention. Um, I don't. I'm hopeful that this game is good. They delayed it for a reason. I think it'll be all right. It's supposed to come out this year. Redfall is that vampire one from the people that made Dishonored and Prey. I think that one looks cool. Talked a little bit about this one last week, but Forza Motorsport is my preferred sim racing game. I just really didn't like Gran Turismo 7 and the economy. Forza, it's going to be different, and I know they're like retooling it and rebooting it, so maybe it'll be a bit different. But the game looks really good. I think that'll be fairly fantastic. There's some smaller games, another couple that are going to pop up. Um, Hellblade, Senua Senua Saga. I think that's what her second one is called. That should be coming out this year. It's been announced for a long time. It was like shown off gameplay at the Game Awards like 2 years ago. Don't know where that game is. I can't imagine it's going to take too much longer, but who knows? Right now, Arc 2, the Arc Survival Evolved, they have Arc
Mhm.
2 coming out. That's supposed to be Windows and Series X early access, I guess. I guess it's not releasing this year, but it's got Vin Diesel, so it's family. Um,
Yeah, it's all about family.
I've never seen those movies. Another one I was super excited for. I've never played the first one, but I've seen clips and people review it, and it sounded amazing, and I wish I was a part of it. But for the second one, real world events happened, so the game got delayed. But Stalker 2, Heart of Chernobyl, that game looks absolutely fantastic. Have you seen this game?
No.
It's the one that's like it's in I think it's Russia or maybe it's Chernobyl. So yeah, uh, it takes place in the area post like apocalypse. So there's like these creatures and these factions fighting for areas. It you got to look it up. It looks really good. It looks very like I guess I don't really know Russian culture, but I'm gonna say like culturally appropriate. That probably sounds very politically correct, but that's not what I mean. Um, it looks really cool, and I just that game looks awesome. I can't wait for it. Um, yeah, I don't know. Microsoft's got some games that I'm really excited for. I'm hoping to see Avowed this year. I mean, there's a lot of games they've announced that have been announced for 2 years now that we're kind of like, well, it's got to come out soon, right? In the same way that we're talking about like the Nintendo, right? Where it's like, oh, a Mario game, right? Like,
Mhm.
I don't know. I think Xbox again, completely biased. Super looking forward to all these games. So, are any of these jumping out at you as you're like, oh yeah, that looks cool? Or you know, if I, yeah, I know you don't have a Series X or S, and I know you refuse to turn on your Xbox One. So, any of these that are like, well, I might play this on PC.
Well, I definitely won't be able to play most of these on PC because my PC is hot garbage right now. But especially Starfield. But that's probably the one that interests me the most. I think that's the one that interests most people right now because it's the next big Bethesda game, and I need to look more into it. But I'm afraid with most big games that they're going to have this cyberpunk effect again. Because when people really look up to something and they're waiting for something, it's really anticipated. The more problems it has, the easier it is to just absolutely shit on it, especially when everyone was excited for it. Other than that, maybe Redfall. That's just the one I probably recognize the most. I've never been a big Forza person, but Redfall's the only one that I've actually seen and kind of remembered. It's not something I'm, die hard waiting for, but I don't know. It definitely piques my interest a little bit.
I really like Dishonored. I never played Prey. Did you play the Dishonored games at all? I
No,
guess I only played the first one, to be fair. You haven't played any of them?
no, I haven't played either.
What are we doing with our lives? Why aren't we playing these games?
Failing, we're fake gamers.
Why do we have a podcast? So, with all of those said, who do you think has the best year based on what's announced and actually supposed to be coming out this year? So, like, we're gonna not really talk about Avowed, right, or the potential Mario game.
Mhm.
Who do you think has the best year?
I definitely don't think it is PlayStation. I'm kind of mixed between Xbox and Nintendo. I want to say Xbox, but I do think it's going to be Nintendo,
I
specifically because of Zelda. They just have a lot of big Nintendo names coming out all at once. So I think that'll definitely please the most fans because Starfield, again, it's really hyped up, so it could flop massively. And other than that, maybe Forza could pick up a lot, but I haven't really, I don't see a lot of crazy, you know, hyped up stories or anything about Redfall or maybe there's a few Hellblade things I've seen, but nothing absurd.
Yeah, the advertising has definitely been on the down low for a lot of those Microsoft titles. We don't know if that's because of the Activision deal that they're trying to get past or something else. Maybe they're actually just in a lot of development hells, and so who knows? I'm actually with you 100%. I think, no, my bias was just there, and I think Xbox, if they actually hit on all cylinders, would have the best year. I'm skeptical that's going to happen. I feel
Hmm.
like things are going to fall apart. I think we're going to probably get Redfall, and Starfield. I just said Redfield. That's no, Chris. No. Um,
Get out of here, Chris.
yeah, get out of here. Claire, you can stay.
She's great.
Redheads. We were talking about that earlier. Redheads, stay. But yeah, I can see one of those games definitely getting delayed to the fall, even though they're both supposed to be coming out in spring. I could see both of them coming in the fall. I feel like they're definitely coming out this year, but all those other ones like Avowed, Arc 2, I think Stalker, I don't know what happened because if you don't know the story of that, it's a Ukrainian developer.
Hmm.
It was supposed to come out last year. Obviously, some real world events happened. They are working on the game again though, so I don't know what state it's in, how many updates they need, if they got to change some things. So it's hard to speculate with that one, but I feel like that one's coming out for sure. Starfield, Redfall, and Forza. Everything else, I don't trust Xbox to get them out on time. As a diehard Halo fan, I know it's going to take them a while to get some of these things out, and they might not be, you know, they might need to go through the No Man's Sky Cyberpunk treatment before they even hit the level that they need to hit. Just my opinion. Meanwhile, I think Nintendo, yeah, they have Zelda, and I think that's really carrying the load. I'm sure Fire Emblem excites Fire Emblem fans. I don't think it's doing enough job. Enough job. That's the word I was looking for. I don't think it's doing enough to get people that aren't a big fan of that series to jump in right now. I mean, I personally, I'm interested in the series, yet I haven't paid attention to Engage whatsoever.
Yeah, I just think with Nintendo, they have names that I recognize a lot coming this year, which probably doesn't mean very much, but at least they're big names that'll probably attract more people than, newer title like Redfall. That's not a sequel to anything, right? That's just an original. And
Redfall's
Starfield,
original, yes. So is Starfield, yes.
yeah. Besides from like Forza and Hellblade, I think, you know, they have names that are going to attract more people and more people that have played games before them that just get more players all around instead of, you know, relying strictly off of original quality, which don't get me wrong, I hope a lot of these games are actually good, like Starfield and Redfall. Mostly those two that I'm looking forward to, but I just don't know the current state. I really don't know enough.
Yeah, all is fair there. And like I said, Nintendo doesn't announce things always in advance, and so and really, I think at this point we're gonna get some spring conferences because I can't imagine PlayStation only has Spider-Man 2 for like all of this year, and
Hmm.
then third-party exclusives like Square Enix. Maybe I'm wrong on that, but I can't. I, I have to believe. And all that's to be said. I think my most played platform this year is going to be maybe PlayStation or PC. You know, as much as I was an Xbox shill for a solid 5 minutes earlier, that's my go-to. Like, I'm gonna just listen to a podcast, but in reality, I've been playing Overwatch 2. I'm gonna hop into WoW, and those are gonna be my podcast games as well as Diablo. And we're probably gonna get Diablo 4 on PS5 because we game share. So I think pretty much every other platform is gonna be my go-to this year, even though they're not my preferred platform. Any final comments before we move on to the draft?
Not that I can think of. I just, I really, I think I agree with most of what you said. I am scared for Xbox. I also have a soft spot for Xbox because I played Xbox One when I'm pretty sure PS4 won that genre or that era.
Oh, it did. That's not.
So
There's no doubt
I
about
have
that.
a warm heart towards it, but I'm I'm still skeptical. But I think I like that with most, big games. I think the big game now is Starfield. That's the next Cyberpunk that I'm hoping doesn't actually end up being like Cyberpunk.
Yeah, I don't really know what much more to add. So let's go draft. So if you for the one and a half of you that are listening, um,
Us.
yes, us again. Well, you couldn't even finish the first one, so that's fine.
I did, I think.
You think.
I think.
If you don't remember the rules are it's a snake draft. So one person. So first round this week I will go first because you went first last week. So I will pick, and then you will pick, and then for round two you start. So you will get another pick back to back. Then me, so on and so forth. We're gonna do six each again. It won't always be 6 rounds. Sometimes it could be. Rarely it'll be more, but there will be probably drafts that it makes sense to just do less.
Mhm.
But this week we're doing six each again, and I'm going to take the first pick. So my I'm not even didn't even say what we're doing. My bad. We are drafting PlayStation exclusive franchises or IPs or whatever. Um, so just to clarify, because Justin had some questions, that does not mean it has to be a series. It can be an individual game that is PlayStation owned. It can't be like Tomb Raider or Crash Bandicoot, which on PS1, yeah, those are exclusives. Not the case anymore. In fact, Crash and Spyro might be Xbox exclusives soon, so not their franchises. However, for Sony, anything that they own that are either a series or an independent, and a solo game, free grabs, up for grabs, PlayStation exclusive IPs, franchises. The other thing is we're picking, for example, if we were to pick, I don't think either of us are going to pick this, but if we were to pick MLB The Show, which is technically owned and made by PlayStation, that you get the whole series. You're not just picking up MLB The Show 18. You get the whole thing. So for games with trilogies or dozens of games, you're getting the whole series when you pick this, not just an individual game. Anything I missed before we start drafting?
No, I think you hit all the boxes. Nice.
Well, for the first pick, maybe this isn't the popular vote, but I'm gonna pick what my favorite is for sure. Maybe it's not my favorite, but it's tied for favorite then. Uh, I got to go with Uncharted.
Very fun.
Nathan Drake with Nolan North. I mean, he's like the face of PlayStation. He was for like probably the PS3 generation. I would argue. I mean, he's just Naughty Dog. They make amazing games. Uncharted 4 is by far my favorite. I know a lot of people are fond of Uncharted 2. Uh, they're just
Real.
so good. It's Indiana Jones the video game. It's as close as you can get, being an original treasure hunting idea. Like it's just so good. What are your thoughts?
I'm slightly pissed, but I want you to pick next.
You wanted Uncharted?
Maybe.
Well, you have the next pick. What is your pick?
Okay, I think you already know this one, but The Last of Us. It's obvious to you, but
Yeah, I
my
saw that
favorite
coming.
game of all time is The Last of Us Part 1 and 2. They're both just up there. So I have to snatch those real quick. I can't be loyal without doing that. Absolutely love those games. I think, everyone loves the first one, so you don't have to ask me why everyone likes that or why that one's good. You can just go to every other review known to man on the first game and figure out. Mixed
Are you
opinions on
excited
the second
for
one, but I'm fine with it.
Are you excited for the Last of Us TV show?
I am. I was skeptical again because most adaptations can be kind of mid, like most Resident Evil movies and whatever the hell that Monster Hunter movie was. But after seeing the trailers, I am more and more excited. Even our own father is excited for that, who doesn't even like video games. And I don't know. I like Pedro Pascal. That's it. He's daddy. That's the only thing I can say.
He
It's Pedro
he
Pascal.
is absolutely fantastic. Well, that was your first round pick. Now you have another pick. What are you taking?
Um, it's hard for me not to pick one that I think you'd pick just to spite you, but I won't do that. I'm a snatch Ghost of Tsushima, which makes me
Wasn't
seem
even
like
going
a
to be one I take.
2020 nerd. I promise I am not, but I did really enjoy that game. A lot of reviews for that game, a lot of good reviews for that game. I don't see them as often anymore because most of them are just negative reviews for the second Last of Us. Um,
I've seen some of those reviews and I know exactly what you're talking about.
yeah, it just makes it 10 times less credible. But I do really think that game was good. I probably would have been very upset if it got Game of the Year, but I would have understood. I don't know, it's fun. It makes everyone feel like, a weeaboo. I don't care. It happens. Um, Very inaccurate historically, I'm pretty sure, but that's fine.
There's so many things that you just said that made me laugh. I don't know why, but understanded was probably the one that stands out.
Understood. Sorry.
So I'm sorry. I just thought it was really funny, and then you kept making more jokes. It just no, it's a good game. I've only played like the first hour, but that first hour was really good.
Yeah, it's also beautiful. It gives you eyegasms. It's wonderful. A lot of that game is me just in the photo mode for 2 hours, and then forgetting there's a story that I'm supposed to be doing. It's very fun. And then Uncle Iroh is in the online mode. He's the narrator.
That is the perfect option for sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, that's fine. Uh, I didn't think Last of Us was going to come back to me, but I would have taken it if I could. I wouldn't have taken Ghost of Tsushima, but I've only played like an hour of it, and it was good, and I hope to fully complete it at some point. But I'm gonna take. It's more of an order of how I want to do this, but I'm gonna take God of War
Okay.
because I mean it's God of War. Like I fully
That's the
recognize.
statement right there. It's God of
Yeah.
War.
Yep. No, I mean, yeah. It did lose to Elden Ring. It's fine. Um, I've only played the first one, so maybe this is the popularity pick, but I fully recognize that they are just a high bar of quality games. The games on the PS2, they were, at the time, just stellar action games, and they were up there with like some of the other ones. I've not played the series, but other action games that, from what I could tell, are comparable would be like Devil May Cry, which is immensely popular. Um, but I mean, it was a popular beat 'em up that a lot of games ended up being based on. I think the first Darksiders was one, right? Or maybe all of them.
Mayhaps. I'm was like
I've only played a
non-existent.
little bit of that. It's been a long time since I played that. That was the Four Horsemen of the Apocalypse. That series, I've only played like some of the second one, like the intro to the first. Regardless, back then, groundbreaking, and then obviously the reboots, which I have not played yet, but the reboots are also stellar, super popular, for a good reason. There's a reason that they almost won Game of the Year last year, or the first one did win Game of the Year back in 2018, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so there's a reason that they're popular. I can only speak to the classics. By that I mean the first one, which is not that good compared to the other ones, I guess, but I enjoyed the first one, so yeah.
Yeah, that's
So now
actually
that
why I didn't pick that as well, or why I didn't plan on picking that one, because I haven't played too much of the originals. I've only played the newer ones and the first one. And after the first one, I didn't really want to play the second or third one.
That's fair. Well, now that I've shilled for the popular vote, I'm going to take what my actual second pick is. And really, I think if I wasn't sure that you were going to take Uncharted from me, I would have taken this as my number one overall pick. But Jack and Daxter, Jack and Daxter, so good. So let's go through. Have you played any of these games?
The Jack and Daxter games?
Yes.
Of course, yeah, because of you. They were my first games I ever like actually played.
Did you play all of them or just like one of them?
I remember bits and pieces. I have no clue what the plot of the games are, but I definitely played, a good chunk of, I think all of them. I remember the shark giving me night terrors in the first one every time you try to swim outside the
Oh,
map.
the
Remember
shark.
thinking I was so
I think it's in
badass as
like
a
all of
kid
them
because I was
technically.
stealing like flying cars. I thought I was playing GTA. And then he said like cuss words that are so extreme, like crap and
I think
things
he
like
said,
that.
"Damn."
Damn, yeah. That that's when I really hit the mature rating of video games right there. That's when I became a
Damn.
man after playing those games. But I didn't play them as much as you, obviously. But
Yeah, I've played I think all of them to completion at least 3 or 4 times each. Now, as an adult, I haven't gone back to them in a while. However, 2 years ago, no, it was last year. I'm sorry, it was on the list last year or last week. Last year, I went through and I replayed the first one at least, Jack and Daxter Precursor Legacy. Played through that, got 100%, and got the platinum. I love those games. 1 to 2 is a very big jump. 2 to 3 is more of the same. But I do like all of them. I do think the first one is definitely collectathon, Banjo Kazooie style, whatever. But the second one and the third one, that's where the two hairs on my chest grew playing those games. Those games were dark and they were gritty and they wanted to kill people and it was awesome.
and he said,
Um,
"Damn."
Damn. Yeah. No, it was. Oh, yeah. They had like the dirty jokes where like the little Daxter, um, which is, oh my gosh, what is the animal he is? Oh my, he's a mix of two animals. I can't remember. Um, it's like an. Oh, it's gonna bother me. Anyways, like yeah, he's clearly like he's a little horny orange dude, um, in the future games, and I
I
thought that
know a
was
few of
funny as a
those.
kid. What's that?
I know a few of those.
Some horny
Little
orange
horny
dudes.
orange dudes, yeah.
Okay, well we're gonna leave that one there, and we're gonna move on to your next pick. But no, Jack and Dexter, great series. They really need to come back. Naughty Dog, please cancel the Last of Us multiplayer. Give us Jack and Dexter for.
Absolutely not. Is it my next?
It is. You have two more picks.
Okay, I
Next, you
am
still have
going.
one after that, but
Uh, I'm a snatch infamous. Not that I think you'd actually pick this one. I don't know why I'm calling it snatching, but that's what my next pick is, the Infamous series.
I've watched like very in-depth reviews of them, like 40-minute long reviews, but I've never played them. So you're gonna have to speak to this one.
I it was also one of the first games I played on my PlayStation 3 when I got it. I have the cases right here. I played the only games I got were Uncharted 1 and 2 and Infamous 1 and 2. They came with my PlayStation. And I liked Infamous because it made me feel angsty as well as kind of like the Jack and Daxter effect. Uh, it was one of those games that, I thought I was playing GTA, even though it's not as dark as GTA and nowhere as, crude or, you know, mature. But it made me feel, as if I was playing a mature game. I think they're not mature. I think those are teen.
The Infamous games.
Yeah.
I don't remember. I know you can get Evil. They're on your shelf right behind you, aren't they?
I probably lost them, honestly. One sec.
What was
The
that
stretching was
noise?
needed. It's me grabbing the games. I have no clue where they are. I see Uncharted 1, 2, 3. I don't know.
Well, if you were going alphabetically, it would be
Oh, it's right above it. It's next to Disney Infinity. Oh, Infamous. There we go. I forgot these are sorted alphabetically. They are teen
okay.
games.
Did you ever play the what was the new one with the new character on PS4?
Troy Baker. I don't know. I don't know his name. Troy Baker. I know it takes place in like Seattle or something. I did not play the PS4 one though.
It does take place in Seattle, now that I
I
remember.
kind of want to now that I'm talking about this, and now that I've been to Seattle, I want to play it, but
Hmm.
I don't know. These games made me feel very angsty. Yeah, it has them with electricity, blue and red, because I knew if you killed innocent people, you were evil, apparently, because apparently killing innocents is not okay.
What? Okay. Well, that's a good third pick. It was on my list as a later round pick, but the problem, so to be honest, the problem for me is there's only like one or two left that I've even played. I'm not even sure for like those couple that I would even pick those. So yeah, but you have another pick. You have your fourth round pick. What are you going with?
Horizon,
It was
because
Horizon.
I love gingers and dinosaurs.
Why are we ragging on gingers this
And
episode?
I don't know. Horizon is fun game. Forgettable plot, but fun game. It's like Monster Hunter for gingers. It's beautiful. It's pretty. At least the second one is. The first one's still pretty, but not as pretty. Uh, Main character's name is Aloy, and I can't name another character.
You can't name her
It's
mentor that gets blown up in the beginning of the first one.
nope.
I
It's
don't
not that
remember what it is.
important. I don't know. Fun game. I like Ashley Birch as well. She voices her. Uh, I mostly play that game for the actual gameplay and not for the story. The story's not bad. It's actually a good story. It's just forgettable.
It's fair. It yeah. I don't think there's much more I could say on that because I've also only played the first hour of that game too. I played through the tutorial when your mentor gets blown up and you get to go into the open world, and I was like, oh, that's cool. And I shut the open world off and I didn't turn it back on.
Yep.
Well, that was your fourth round pick, which means I have a fourth round and a fifth round pick to go. And I'm going to go with the same developer for both of these. For my fourth round pick, I'm going to take Ratchet and Clank. Now, have I played a Ratchet and Clank game? No.
Wow. Fake gamer.
But,
Fake.
but
Leave the call. Fake. Stop
I've
recording.
I've seen the movie multiple times
Burn in hell.
because I used to work at Family Video
Oh my god.
and I rented it one time and I thought it was pretty good. And you're able to put movies on for like the display, and they have to be appropriate. And one of the popular movies that people would play was Trolls, and I was so sick of it. So I put Ratchet and Clank in, and so I've seen it multiple times. I did see it at home, like genuinely watching it the first time though. That was a pretty decent animated movie. I apparently didn't do well enough to want to make more, but it does well enough to keep making more games. That's more than Jack and Daxter can say. So yeah, Ratchet and Clank. They're funny, and I like the movie. Maybe I'll play the games. Yeah, I don't know. You have any experience with Ratchet and Clank? I don't think you do.
Not really. I'm just gonna say you should have sat there and struggled with Anna Kendrick and Justin Timberlake with Trolls instead of being a fake gamer and choosing Ratchet and Clank the movie.
I'm not a fake gamer.
You're a fake gamer.
Okay, well, I have played this next game. I don't know which one I played, but I played one of them. Also by Insomniac, I think, unless I'm dead wrong, in which case, again, I will fake gamer. The Resistance series. This is one of the quote unquote Halo killers back in the day. Yeah, it was PS3 exclusive. I believe it was made by Insomniac. I'm not going to fact check it because I'm too lazy. So I'm going to say it was made by Insomniac. First person shooter where like aliens come down or something. I just remember I was at my friend's house. They had a PS3. We never had a PS3 for a long time. They had a PS3. They played this game called Resistance. There was like these aliens that were like eating people. I don't really remember. But what I do remember is eventually they switched over to multiplayer. They were playing split screen multiplayer. And it very much had that like brown military Call of Duty look, right? Like it was not a pretty game whatsoever. But I was able to try it. I was playing, I was young and I was playing against like, oh, these are like high school kids or early college kids. And my Halo experience carried me through to winning several of those matches, and I felt really good about that. So yeah, that's all I know. And maybe that game doesn't even have a split screen. I'm completely remembering a different game. I don't know. I haven't played them minus that one experience. But I don't know. I've seen reviews of those. Those always looked interesting to me. It's on my list to go back and play like every other game known to man. That's all I have to say. Your turn.
Before I go on, I am looking at the Ratchet and Clank cast, and why is it so iconic? I did not know Sylvester Stallone and John Goodman were in this movie.
Neither did
Nor did
I.
I
I need to
know
go back
Bella
and watch this
Thorne was
movie.
in this movie.
Who?
Bella Thorne
Oh,
and
okay.
Rosario Dawson is also in this movie.
That is a great. I'm gonna. I need to go back and watch this movie now.
I had no clue. Apparently, I think it flopped a lot, like a loss of $7 million. But
That's not
I
that
had I don't
bad.
remember this cast being this beautiful.
So now you're gonna watch this movie.
I will watch this movie.
All right, we'll watch it together.
Okay. Sorry. Next pick. My pick.
Yep. You have
Okay.
your fifth and sixth round picks. So you have two more picks, and those are your last two picks.
Okay. I'm gonna take Sly Cooper. That's one, right?
It is, yes.
Okay. Yeah. Uh, the only one I played, I have it right here, and apparently this one was pretty bad to
Oh, the
Sly
fourth
Cooper
one?
fans. Maybe.
Is it
Thieves in
the
Time.
thieves? Yep, that's the fourth one.
I like this game. I thought I was so stealthy and cool playing this game. There was a little tiger with a cigarette in his mouth, and I thought that was cool. Uh, I remember very little of it now, but I thought, I don't know, I felt like I was playing Persona 5, but I was a raccoon instead of a depressed teenager in Japan. Much better
I
cast in this game, obviously.
have played like one mission of Sly Cooper at a friend's house one time, and I've not played Persona, so I'm gonna pretend to know what both those games were like and say yes.
They are not similar, but the cast of this game does look like a cartoonish version of Persona.
Well, you got one more pick, Justin. What you got?
Little Big Planet.
That is a
That
really good
counts.
pick.
That is a great pick. I think I have that on PlayStation, or is that a PS2 or PlayStation 3 or
It was
PS2?
PS3 game.
Okay. Oh yeah, here it is. I loved those games. I mostly played them as a kid, as I think most people who play those games did. I did not know there was a kart racing game that I think this is yours. It's still
Nope,
here
the kart
though.
racing is yours.
Did not know I owned this.
Yep, I think I got it for you. I got it for you, or I told our parentals to get it for you for a birthday or something. But yes, in the Little Big Planet games, there are three of them, I believe. I think the third one was a
Yes.
PS4 game. Um, and then there is also the kart racing, and then on PS5, there's actually Sackboy's Big Adventure,
Have
which
you
I
played that?
own. I own it physically, and I was going to play it with my wife, and we never did.
Bruh.
So yeah,
Imagine. I need to play that. Except you bought it physically, I think.
I did.
Because you hate
Yep,
me.
I do. Yep.
Well, so rude.
You can always,
No.
borrow the game. You don't live that far from me.
Nope.
Okay.
Yeah, Little Big Planet. Liked that game. Played it as a kid. Always went to my best friend's house. He's the person that got me to want to get the game because he had it on his like PS3. Thought it was the next big thing, even though it's very much a kid's game, and
Yep.
that is it.
All right. Well, Justin, you have The Last of Us, Ghost of Tsushima, Infamous, Horizon Zero Dawn, or whatever that series is called. Horizon, I guess. Sly Cooper, and Little Big Planet.
A
I
classic.
have Uncharted, God of War, Jack and Daxter, Ratchet and Clank, Resistance, and with my last pick, I have played one of these games. It was a remake on the PSP, and then I have played on the demo disc the first level of the original multiple times. It is Ape Escape.
Oh, I forgot about that. I should have snatched that.
Have you ever played? Yeah, so you've played some of them.
It was probably yours. It was probably on the PSP.
Oh, it was. I think it was a remake of the first one. But Ape Escape was just this really, really goofy game that you just run around and catch monkeys, and they're like, if they were more animated, they probably would have been like the minions of like the PS1, where they were just doing goofy stuff, right? And you just go around and catch them. And sometimes there's like little puzzles involved. You got to do this thing first, right? But they're all just weird. And the whole thing is, yeah, they have these things that are causing them to go crazy and cause problems. These helmets on. Goofy games. I never played the second or the third one. I guess the series got kind of weird as it went on. Maybe I'm wrong about that. I know you don't play as the same main character, but first one and the remake of the first one on PSP, uh, great game. Love that game. And I really part of it's I actually played that game, and the other part of it's I don't think I would rather take that. I don't think I'd rather have like Gran Turismo was still on the list. I've only played one of them and I didn't care for it, so I wasn't going to take that. Killzone, it's another one, another Halo killer. I've never really played them. I don't have much interest. I just don't. I don't know. There's also Medieval, which is that like Skeleton Knight dude that's kind of funny, and there's a PS4 remake. There's Astrobot, which is a VR game and then a tech demo. The baseball game, SOCOM, which was like a military game back in the day. I did play that. It was all right, but I didn't think it was anything special. I think it's obviously been outdone by things like Call of Duty. And then Twisted Metal. I actually just never. I don't know much anything about Twisted Metal except there's a freaky clown, and it's actually getting a TV show. Did you have any others that you were looking at? You're like, oh, maybe I'll take this.
Not really. You snatched Uncharted right at the beginning, which was a smart move on you, but still screw you. Other than that, no, not really. I would have picked Jack and Daxter sooner or later at the end if I couldn't find anything else. I was considering snatching it as my second pick because you
I took Uncharted
took
from you.
Uncharted. Yeah.
I would have been offended, but I would assumed you would have taken God of War. So surprised you took Ghost of Tsushima over that.
No, I didn't want to take God of War because I would have felt like a fake fan because I have not played two or
Oh,
three.
so like me, fake
Yeah,
fan.
you're a
Okay,
fake
well,
gamer.
ironically, we did PlayStation, but well, I just bumped my mic. We did PlayStation, but sometime down the line we can also do Nintendo and Xbox, and I've actually played those games in series. So yeah, you know what I should have added, which is like kind of a cop out. I guess there's two of them.
Hmm.
If we're going by Sony owned franchises, there is Destiny because they acquired Bungie, so technically Sony owns that. And then there's also because they acquired Insomniac and Microsoft let them keep the rights to this game, Sunset Overdrive, which is that like weird cartoony the predecessor. There was an Xbox One exclusive
Wait, for Sony?
predecessor. Yeah, Sony owns Insomniac now, and Insomniac kept the rights for Sunset Overdrive.
Oh, that's really weird.
So technically, that's a Sony game that was an exclusive Xbox game and is now on PC.
That's
Both of those
strange.
actually were fantastic games. I don't even remember the first one. What did I just say? I
I have
know
no
that.
clue. I just started talking about Sunset
Oh,
Overdrive.
Destiny. Yeah,
Oh yeah.
both of those are really, really big games, but I don't think anybody associate those as PlayStation games right now. So
No.
yeah. The other one that technically didn't make this list that I'm actually thinking about now is like, that probably I would have vetoed it. I would have said it's not allowed. But the Spider-Man games, because no, that's why. Because no,
Yep.
that is a Marvel franchise. That is where I stand. I don't care that Sony's technically owned them since like the PS2 games. No, I refuse. So let's run through the list one more time. You have The Last of Us, Ghost of Tsushima, Infamous, Horizon, Sly Cooper, and Little Big Planet. And then I am rocking Uncharted. There's God of War, Jack and Daxter, Ratchet and Clank, Resistance, and Ape Escape. I will maybe at some point make like a Twitter or something and then just post this so that 3 people can vote on it. And then, yeah, we'll see who has the better picks. I'll retweet it with my personal Twitter, so I'll go from 3 votes to 4.
Yeah.
Yep. All right, Justin, any closing comments before we finish up?
No, I gotta say my draft's much better than yours. That's all I can really add.
Well,
You're a fake gamer.
you're dumb. So, with that, thank me for listening and checking the audio again and doing all the editing. Thank you for bearing with me, and thank me again for listening just to boost us on YouTube or something. So, yeah, that was episode 2. Next week, I don't know what we're going to talk about. I don't plan that far ahead. I texted Justin like last night at 11 at night and said, hey, we're doing this.
Yep.
So, well, until next time, Gibby.
Gibby.